悪いな。なんだありゃ。
I'm back and here to talk about our Lord and Savior S. Chrome Glory, the newest tank added to the upcoming Imprisoned Site update. And if you don't want to miss future PGR guides and videos, don't forget to subscribe. And I also sometimes stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpiderTV. And if I make any corrections or forget to mention something, it'll be the pinned comment down below. Okay, let's start.
こちら 2B 問題ない
Chrome Glory is a base S-rank tank construct that deals primarily ice damage and features ice resist shred, AoE attacks, slight crowd control, and a Mr. Steal Your Girl haircut. And in this video, I'll cover his skills, passives, ascensions, playstyle, weapons, builds, team synergies, and my poll and build recommendations. And as usual, I'll leave timestamps if you want to jump to a specific topic. I don't know what's with PGR ice characters and complex kit descriptions, but I'll try to break it down the best that I can. Of course, I'll show corresponding gameplay and give a simplified TLDR at the end of the section if you don't really care about the details and just want to Umabuga. I first want to cover Chrome's two secondary passives and his core passive since they revolve around his entire kit. Starting with his two secondary passives, the first one is Shield of Glory. Basically, Chrome always enters battle or swaps in with 60% of his health as a shield that restores automatically over time. And this is indicated by the hexagon indicator at the bottom of the screen next to the gauge or the shield bar. And the second one is Congealed Frost. Basically, if Chrome has over 50% shield, any 3-orb ping will drain half of it to parry any incoming attacks, negating damage and also slowing the enemy. Here, my Chrome is SS, so it freezes them instead. And a successful parry will also restore back the 50% of shield that you lost. And you can also dash cancel out of this after the ice animation. As for his core passive, it's indicated by the large gauge at the bottom of the screen, and Chrome will always start combat or swap in with a full gauge. Holding down the basic attack drains all of his shield and starts to drain the gauge to activate Chrome's ice form. And activating ice form rearranges all of his orbs into 3-orb pings and gives an ice field around him that reduces enemy ice resistance and deals ice damage over time. And this animation can also proc Congealed Frost and has iframes. If Chrome performs a 3-orb or matrix ping in this form, it will activate Congealed Frost without the shield drain or refund, and basic attacks become its ice form variant. And the ice form lasts until the gauge is depleted, and the shield cannot naturally recover until he exits this form, with one exception which I'll mention later. Basically, the simplified smooth range TLDR is to hold the basic attack to get into ice form and then spam 3-orb matrix pings and basic attacks. I see you sweating? Chill, it's more complex on paper than it is in practice. And as for Chrome's orb abilities, his red orb performs a 2-hit strike, dealing physical damage, and this damage is converted into ice damage if it's a 3-orb ping. And if you 3-orb ping while Chrome's shield is above 50%, it will trigger the Congealed Frost passive, dealing even more ice damage. And his yellow orb is his crowd control ability. Chrome pulls in enemies in an AoE, dealing physical damage to them, and this damage is converted into ice damage if it's a 3-orb ping. And if you 3-orb ping while Chrome's shield is above 50%, it will once again trigger the Congealed Frost passive, dealing even more ice damage. And this is also his swap in attack. And his blue orb is his gap closing / re-engage ability. And Chrome leaps onto a target, dealing physical damage, and this damage is converted to ice damage if it's a 3-orb ping. And once again, if you 3-orb ping while Chrome's shield is above 50%, it'll once again trigger the Congealed Frost passive, dealing even more ice damage. And as for Chrome's basic attacks, in his normal form, it just deals physical damage in melee range, and you can also dash to skip the beginning of the attack string, and the final attack can launch enemies. His basic attacks in the core passive ice form, all of his attacks are converted to ice damage, with the last hit summoning an icicle to disrupt enemies. Congealed Frost is also activated for a short time, and Chrome can parry by hitting the basic attack when an enemy attacks him in ice form, and a successful parry will grant him the 50% shield refund. But he cannot generate orbs in this state. His QTE drops multiple waves of ice, rapidly dealing ice damage to a target, and his ultimate deals massive ice damage and a large AoE around him while looking cool as fuck. As for his leader skill, the team gets 10% increased ice damage, and tanks get an extra 5% attack. And quickly going through his ascensions, at SS, he gets increased ultimate damage, increased Congealed Frost damage, and the Congealed Frost's slow effect becomes a freeze effect. And at SS, he gains increased ice shred, and he gets increased attack and regains all of his shield when pairing with Congealed Frost. And at SS+, Chrome keeps 25% of his shield, and gains half of his ultimate energy when activating his core passive, and he gains increased ice damage during his core passive, and the freeze effect of Congealed Frost lasts a second longer. And S rank is enough for most players, since SS doesn't add too much damage, so it's not really a priority for pancake shards, and whales can consider SS if planning to hyper invest him for the increased ice shred. And as for builds, for 5-star memories, 4-piece Ike and 2-piece Glory could work. And as for 6-star memories, Chrome is finally the one that will permanently hold the 4-piece Zhu Wenyan, since his QTE can easily proc it with his multi-hits alongside 2-piece Einstein on the top row. And you can finally safely resonate and Hypertune this set. And let's take a moment to honor B Lucia, Isla, and B Nanami for their support. You served us well, and you can go ahead and take care of Grandpa Astro and give Chungyu emotional support. And for the most part, Zhu Wenyan will be Chrome's main set for most content, but in certain cases in Pancake, Chrome can run 4-piece Divinity and 2-piece Einstein, while Wansha runs the 5-star debuff build for burst strats and Pancake. And as for Resonance, attack and HP in the top row, and tank class skill on the bottom row. And as for Hypertune, just do the bottom row memories, so slots 4, 5, and 6. And as for weapons, for the 4-star weapon, just don't. And for the 5-star weapon for free-to-play players, this is the minimum requirement since Chrome does do good damage himself, but if you have the spare black cards, I highly recommend the 6-star or Sinister weapon since it extends his core passive Ice Shred onto his QTE and 3-orb pings, which is just way too good. It enables Chrome to increase the Ice Resist Shred off-field and maintain the Ice Resist Shred uptime on-field. So for competitive players, it's a must-pull. His 6-star weapon resonance priority should be Voice Hyperflow first for the added Ice Shred, and then Resonant Echo followed by Deadline Time. And as for team comp, we finally completed the Ice team. Wansha should always be on the red slot, holding 4-piece Divinity for whenever Plume uses her red orb. Plume is ideally on the blue slot, leaving S-Chrome on the yellow slot. And Wansha is usually the starter for the gap close, as well as to swap and attack Plume and get her ultimate charges stacked faster. And Plume is still the leader since she deals the nuke damage. And as for Playstyle and Rotation, for those who play Plume, you know that there's a temporary downtime after Plume burst where she cannot go into Ice form. S-Chrome resolves this by taking the field right after Plume ults and keeping the ice damage output consistent and filling the downtime. And S-Chrome's kit really has it all. AoE, crowd control, slows, a parry, and a thick shield, all while dealing good damage himself, making him safe and easy to play on field. Off field, he provides great Ice Shred from Zhu Wen and even more with the signature weapon. And as for rotations, for Pancake, in Hawkshoe early stages or a heavily invested Plume and Glory, you can start with Wansha to gap close with his red and yellow orbs, swap attack into Plume, burn all of her 3-orb pings, and then ultimate with Da Vinci QTEs, so nothing really new here. For Hawkshoe later stages that Plume cannot 1-rotate, you can start with Wansha, again to gap close with red or yellow orbs, swap attack into Chrome, enter his core passive, basic attack and spam 3-orb pings while proccing the QTEs, swap attack into Plume, burn all of her 3-orb pings, and then wait for the burst window in order to ultimate and kill Hawkshoe. And as for other bosses that you cannot kill in one team rotation, or extended game modes like Warzone and Norman, you can start with Wansha to gap close with red and yellow orbs, and then swap attack into Plume, burn all of her 3-orb pings, and ultimate with Da Vinci QTEs, swap attack into Chrome, enter his core passive, basic attack, spam 3-orb pings while proccing QTEs, and then swap attack into Wansha, and either proc the Magic Shot after holding the basic attack, or ultimate, and then swap back into Plume to repeat. You can also forego swapping to Wansha completely by only basic attacking on Chrome in his core passive Ice form, and then spitting 3-orb pings afterwards before switching to Plume. And you can also weave in Chrome's ultimate instead of swapping to Wansha, or when Chrome has downtime before Plume. And as for my pull and build recommendations, well, there's a reason why I kept hinting at S-Chrome ever since Chungyu's release. Even a max invested triple S Chungyu will not be able to compete with the base S-rank Chrome. And Chrome is basically the last piece the Ice team needed, filling in the ice damage downtime for Plume, holding Zhu Wen, providing additional Ice Shred, ability to parry, AoE, crowd control, and being tanky. He literally does it all. And he basically makes the Ice team go from the most lackluster to one of the most busted, while also being easy to play and, in my opinion, pretty fun to play as well. And he'll get even better with his Eco Pet later on. So I highly recommend pulling and building him even if you don't have Plume, and if you can, try to get his signature weapon. And also, if he's so cool, then why is he so hot? Like, what the? If there's any updates or corrections, I'll leave a pinned comment down below. If you have any questions, drop in the comments, or ask our community Discord at discord.io/AjanAntama, and I'll try to respond if I got the time. Subscribe so you don't miss future guides and videos, and if you find this video informative, drop a like, a dislike if you didn't. My next stream on Twitch should be Chrome's polls alongside polls on my Taiwan account, so follow me there at twitch.tv/spider2b to catch my stream when I do. And I appreciate the patience since I was on video hiatus for a bit and low-key ended up being a weekly Twitch streamer, but I remembered I'm a YouTuber and I'm back invested and with more ideas. Well, sort of rested with Chrome's video draining my mental gauge a bit. But that's it from me, thanks for watching, and peace late.